Welcome. I am really excited today because this is a story that you're going to get to hear like no other story of a tutor that has won the Tutorpreneur Hero Award winner. Today, we've got Dori Osman. Woo! And I'm so excited for you guys to hear her story and the actions that she took and what she did and, how she got into this position, because literally she had no students up to week 6. And then that next week she got a student that scheduled 4 hours of tutoring. So that was like 4 students just for that one student. And then she got 4 more the week after that. So you guys definitely come and join us and hear the amazing story of Miss Dori tutoring. And guess what? The doors to the Jumpstart program are open because we just finished our last round of Jumpstart. And if you're interested in being able to join us in this amazing program where you are going to be able to get more students for your tutoring business, click on the link in the description and you will find out more information. I posted a replay of the webinar that we did on Monday. You'll be able to watch that if you want to, or you can just sign on up and join us, take the plunge and do it. All right, Dori, this is your day to feature all about you. The very first question I always ask everybody is, what was learning like for you?
Oh, wow. Well, first, I just want to say a big thank you to you for having me here. I feel so honored to be here. You are a mentor, truly a mentor for me. So I feel just really, really privileged that you would have me here and recognize me. So thank you.
Oh my gosh, you are welcome. And now I am a fan of Dori math tutoring because of everything that you did. And that's why I'm so excited to be able to do this today with you, because it's a story that we've never heard of before. So tell us a little bit about like what learning was like for you when you were a kid.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, growing up, I'm from Newfoundland, and math was always my favorite subject in school. And I was a 90 student, A+ student in it up until my graduating year. So at the end of grade 11, I was expecting or hoping to go to university on scholarship. My marks were good, and I was taking advanced math. I had a mid-90s average. And then my family moved.
Oh, no.
They moved to a new province, Nova Scotia, had different academic regulations, requirements. The curriculum was different. And as it turned out, what I'd been studying in high school was completely different from what they'd been studying in this new province. And I was lost.
Oh my gosh.
My mark went from mid-90s to failing immediately. My hopes of going to university on scholarship vanished. They were crushed overnight. And I didn't even know if I could go. And I went from loving math, from it being my favorite subject, to hating it, to being frustrated. And I was just, and there was no help. Like, I asked my teacher for help. She's like, oh, go to the library and find the grade 11 book. Yeah. And I didn't, so I was just like, if I ever figure this out, I'm going to help people with this because I don't want to feel like this anymore. But I eventually overcame it, and I went on to study engineering. And then after that, I studied a Bachelor of Commerce with a major in finance. And I did get those scholarships eventually. And not only that, but my math, I got it back up to where I was enjoying it again. And so I was able to turn it around. But I do relate, and I do understand how frustrating it can be when you're struggling with not understing.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. And you can share that story as well with your students and give them hope that, just because you're struggling now doesn't mean you have to struggle forever. There's a way around this. There's something that you can do. So you didn't go into the regular field of education right out of college. What did you do?
No, after I graduated, I worked in, I have a finance degree with a major in investing. So I worked in the investment industry, and It's the reason why I moved to Toronto. That's where the Canadian stock market is. And I worked in investing in banking, and ended up working my way up to head office at the biggest bank in Canada. And I worked in corporate for over 15 years before I dove into tutoring. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. And then what motivated you to want to go into tutoring?
Well, I mentioned in university that I was able to turn my math mark around. So not only about midway through my finance degree, and not only had I brought my marks back up, but because I'd already studied engineering, the math in finance just was a breeze comparatively. So when I was in math class, my friends were lost. So I was like, oh, here, I can help you with that. So I started helping. And then people I didn't know started coming up and asking me like, hey, can you help me with this? And so being a university student, I was like, you know what, that I'm going to make this a side job. So I started tutoring. I was only charging like $10 an hour, but people started hearing about me and coming to me, and I was getting more requests. And eventually the university asked me if I would become an official tutor for the university to tutor their national champion football team, so that they had a threshold. They needed to keep a certain mark to stay on the football team. So my last 2 years in university, I did that, and I loved it. I loved, helping people and helping them learn. But as I mentioned, I was just thinking of it as, a side job. Didn't think that it could possibly be a career. Fast forward 15 years, and I've worked in the finance industry, and I was at head office, and I had my head buried in a computer. And I started to notice that the highlight of my day was when someone else, like a colleague, came over and said, hey, Dori, do you know how to do this? And I would just drop everything. Yeah, let me help you figure that out. Or, yeah, I know how to do that. Let me help you with that. And it really made me realize that what brings me joy and passion and is helping other people and showing them, teaching or showing them how to do things. So you're right. I didn't go into the education field, but I kept thinking, maybe I should go back to school. Maybe,
Yeah.
And a few years later, so I was having these thoughts, and then the financial crisis hit. And then a few years after the financial crisis, the banks kept laying off and laying off and laying off. So eventually it was my turn. And then I was like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? So I also dance. So I ended up getting a job where I was teaching ballroom to grades 4 to 6 in the school system. So I was going from one school to the next, and I was teaching the kids ballroom, and it was chaos. They would give me up to
I know. I can already picture this.
I'll tell you, Joanne, there was one time they gave me a split gym. They gave me 2 classes. So I had, about 50 kids. And the gym was split, and there was no divider. So they had high school kids in half the gym playing lacrosse, or like a game with balls that they were throwing at each other. And I had 50, 9 to 11-year-olds. And the other teachers who were supposed to help me supervise were like, oh, break time, and vanished. Yeah. And I was just like, oh my gosh. So even though it was craziness, I loved the enthusiasm of the kids and helping them and showing them and just their pure joy at learning something. And about a year after that, I met someone who was tutoring for a fairly elite tutoring agency in my city. And he's like, you've got engineering and finance, and you like working with kids, and you like teaching. Why don't you tutor? And I was like, well, I tutored in university and I loved it, but it never occurred to me. So he introduced me to the agency that he worked for. And so that's how I got started. I was tutoring in person, working for an agency, going house to house. Mm-hmm. And as much as I loved it, the traveling had to stop. And I kept thinking, I can do this on my own. I can do this on my own. Like, there's a little voice. Mm-hmm. So that's what led me to this path. And I did that for a few years. And then when I kept trying to get my students, do you want to try an online lesson? That was my idea to how to get them to, so I didn't have to travel all over the city. I don't own a car. So,
oh my gosh.
I was spending up to an hour, sometimes more, going from one student's house to another on public transit, walking, taking taxi. Like, it was a disaster.
Oh my gosh. I can only imagine what a nightmare that is.
Sorry?
I can only imagine what a nightmare that was.
Yeah.
And it's a good thing that you loved doing it, though. So that was the plus. You still loved doing it. It was just the travel that was starting to get. And then what happened? So you did this for a few years. What happened when coronavirus hit?
So that changed everything for me overnight. So prior to that, I'd been trying to get my students, hey, let's try online. And I'm like, I'm sure it can work. We could do, Skype or Zoom or something. I didn't know that Zoom existed at that time. And the only time they would is if they were deathly ill, but they had a test the next day or something. But then coronavirus hit and we went into complete lockdown last March. So they had no choice. Mm-hmm. My younger students who were just kind of doing extra, they dropped off. They were like, nope, didn't want to try it. But my high school students were like, I need to graduate. Let's do it. So I transitioned to online and started researching all of the tools that, so just every spare minute I had, I'm like, how can I do what I do in person? How can I bring that to the online world? Yeah. And it was incredible. I was shocked because it ended up working not as well as, but better than in person. Mm-hmm. My students who were so resistant to going online were coming to me and they were like, Dori, I like this better. Mm-hmm. Right? They're like, they didn't have to come down and find a second space and clear a room and make sure it was quiet. And they could just close their bedroom door wherever they were comfortable and have the lesson. Yeah. Not only that, but all of the online tools that are out there, like interactive whiteboard, we can write on the same paper at the same time. I can put their assignment up and highlight the part that I want instead of me trying to like look over their shoulder and what'd you write there? It's just right there in front of both of us. Mm-hmm. And if I need to go and find another tool to show them, I just change the screen, share my screen.
And voila. Yeah. I know. I've been telling people this for years. And I would always tell people like, look, I'm not trying to stop you from doing in-person tutoring, but I'm going to tell you the experience for me personally is that my students actually perform better through doing the online tutoring, through me using techniques that actually get better results. We don't waste time. Remember the introduction phase that you had to do when you arrived at the student's house and you had to get set up, right? That took up time. And then there was the conversation sometimes that had to happen with the parent that probably made you late for your next student sometimes.
Yeah, no, I ended up scheduling extra time in between, buffer time, because I knew after every lesson, the parents are going to be like, so how did it go today?
Yeah. And like you want to give them like a proper response, but like that response would end up being like a 20-30 minute conversation, right? And you're like, oh, some days it would go very quick and you'd be out the door and all that great stuff. But oh my gosh, crazy. You guys, I want to say hello to those of you guys that are in the house. We've got Lisa Brent in the house. We've got Bij Wajit Jana in the house. We've got Twinkle Daz who just joined our Jumpstart program inside of the house. And so glad that you guys are all here. And if you guys have gone through the Jumpstart Masterclass, if you can share what your experience was like, feel free to add that into the chat here so that other people know what your experience was like. But if you want to join us for the very next class that we have, there is a link inside of the description, and Beth will put a link in there as well for you, where you'll get access to the webinar we did on Monday talking about how to create a profitable online tutoring business this summer. And you'll have the opportunity to join the next Jumpstart if you so wish. But it really has helped a lot of people be able to get that Jumpstart in their business and put all those successful tools in place. So I'm curious, what ended up being what motivated you to want to join the Jumpstart class?
Oh, so as I said, I was like studying online tools. And at this point, when the pandemic hit, I had most of my students at that point were through the agency, and 90% of my students through the agency quit overnight. So I just went from being fully booked to I didn't have any students, or I had a couple of grade 12s who were like, I still need you. I need good marks to graduate. So at that point, and the agency was not feeding me any new students. And I was like, you know what? This is the kick in the butt. I've been saying I want to be an entrepreneur and I want to do this on my own. And I can't get any more signals than this. It's time. So not only was I researching online tools, how to tutor, but I was like, how do I run my own business?
Yeah.
Right. So I was searching, I was researching, I was trying to build a website. I had no idea how to do that. I was trying to create, social media, which I'm clueless about. And I'm just like Googling and searching and watching YouTube videos of entrepreneurs. And I'm like, I wonder if there are any other tutors out there who have done this. There's got to be someone else in the world who's doing this. And I ended up searching on Facebook for like tutor support group or tutor help group. And lo and behold, I find Joanne. And when I joined the Ultimate Support Group, Joanne, my jaw dropped. I just could not believe what you've created. I could not believe that there was a whole world of online tutors out there running their own business, making it a career, a profession.
Yes.
I was just like, oh my gosh, I'm not crazy. It can work. And it's hilarious. I started talking about you almost every day to my boyfriend. And I would be like, guess what she posted today? Guess what this YouTube was? I started binge watching all of your YouTube videos. I think he's like, I'm like, I found my new mentor. He's like, does she know you exist? I'm like, no idea. He's like, that's called internet stalking.
You guys, it's fine. You can internet stalk me all you want.
But no, it was so eye-opening just what you've done and watching your journey. And I still was trying to do it on my own just by watching your videos, asking for support in the group. And I was working, but it was overwhelming. I didn't know personally anyone else who was doing it. I didn't know any other people trying to start their own business or who were tutoring. If I had a question, I had no one to bounce ideas off of. I was kind of in my own little bubble, just trying to make progress and go ahead. And when I saw the Jumpstart program, I was just like, oh my goodness, this is exactly what I need. It is going to take all of million things I'm trying to do and say, okay, you need to prioritize this, this, and this. And this is the best way to, I'm like, I'm going to be learning from people who have already done it. They've already made it a success. Why am I reinventing the wheel?
Right.
And so I joined, and that's what I was expecting to get out of it. But what I got was that and so much more. And the number one thing I got out of it is just making connections and support and making friends. And I'm not going through this journey alone anymore. I'm no longer in my bubble. Even though I finished the Jumpstart program, I now have a support network that I will have that forever after. And I've got people who are on this journey with me. I never would have found them if I hadn't joined Jumpstart. So I'm so thankful for that you have put all this together. So once again, thank you.
Oh my gosh, you are welcome. You are welcome. It's so funny when I hear people, the first time I heard somebody say that they binge watch me, I thought, you binge watch me? Like me? Are you sure? I had somebody tell me that like on their way to work, they would listen to my YouTube videos. And I was like, is that even safe? and they're like, oh yeah, because if there's any time that I need to actually see like what you're showing or something like that, they're like, I just go back and watch that part when I get home. I'm like, oh, it's actually kind of brilliant. It's almost like you're listening to me in podcast style. Like, maybe I should start a podcast. For the safety of all my people that are still driving. So we started introducing the podcast as well. But yeah, it's so fun and it's very delightful to be able to just be a part of this process. A lot of people will find me and they never move forward. But like you said, there's so much information. It can be so overwhelming. There's over 400 videos that I've actually put out. I've been very consistent with putting out content. So there's so much stuff there that people would say, oh, it's so overwhelming. And at one point, our Insider Secrets Club, it used to just be one group. And I had my beginners that were just like, I'm lost before they even started. And I was like, I need to create a program that's just for them. And then they can move on into the Insider Secrets Club. And they're not going to feel lost. They're going to feel like they have the same background knowledge and at least feel like they can hold a conversation with these other tutors that have been in business for a while and all that great stuff. And Jumpstart was born about 1.5 years ago. And now look, it's got some amazing tutors that have just come out of that program. We just had Anjana on again last Monday. She had a $12,000 month in April. She had just started her online tutoring business 4 months prior to that, and just amazing things. So I want to share with you guys, I know you don't know that I was going to do this, but I have pulled up the leaderboard from every single week. And guess who was on that leaderboard every single week? If you guessed Dori, you're right. But I want you guys to see something because, like, when I saw this, my jaw dropped. So I want you guys to see this, and we're gonna get to hear like what were the different thoughts as Dori went through this. So you guys, I'm gonna put on in here week 1. Let's see. Will this? There we go. Let's take a look right there. This is week 1. So week 1, there were a lot of first place winners. We had Anna Lorman, Kelly May, Danielle Hobson, Ernest Medlin, Sylvia Stuckey, Suzanne Smith, Lori Beth Chin, Dori Osmond, Christy Ekstrom, Susan Arendes, all of them first place winners. When you were with that group of tutors in the first place, what kinds of thoughts were going through your head?
Excitement. I guess it was a great way to start because we were at the beginning of our journey then. So I was really happy that I knew I was all on board from day one, but I was really, really happy to see that I wasn't the only one. Like, yeah, I've got lots of other people and we're all cheering each other on. So yeah.
That's awesome. And just to even get on the leaderboard is just exciting. It's like, okay, what I'm doing is going to result in something, even if it's just getting on a leaderboard this week, right? Maybe I don't get a student this week, but I took all the actions and I know that I gave it my all when I went through this. Then week 2, we've got on here, you guys. She's in second place. She's with Anna Lorman, Danielle Hobson, Lisa Brent, Dori Osmond, Suzanne Smith, and Sylvia Stuckey. So now you're in second place. What are your thoughts? You went from first place to second place. What thoughts went through your head?
The reason that I dropped down to second place is because the people in first place got students and I didn't. So I was a little bit, of course I wanted to get a new student, and I was like, all right, that means I got to work harder.
Yeah, and you just kept taking action. I remember you say every time like we had our motivational Monday, I would say, so how did you get on the leaderboard? How did you do it? You said, I just keep taking the actions that you tell me to take, Joanne. I just keep taking the actions and I keep marking the tracking sheet and doing it. Then in week 3, you guys, look, it happened again, okay? Week 3, second place, Dori Osmond, next to Danielle Hobson, Christy Ekstrom, and Sylvia Stuckey. And you take a look at this, and was the first place person because they got a student again?
Yeah.
Oh, man. I can only imagine how you're feeling at this point. Like, if I got a student, I could be in first place.
I know. That's exactly how I was like, okay, I just have to work harder. And I think I remember you asked us in the Monday call, like, how'd you get on the leaderboard? And I'm like, staying up till 2 a.m. Like, I was half asleep during that call.
Yes. And here we go. Week 4, you guys. This is going to blow your minds. Second place. Now Dori's all by herself. She's like, dude, if somebody else gets a student and is in first place above me, I want to be, she was very supportive, you guys. Supportive of, she was the first one to be like clapping when I would like make the announcements, and she was just so cheerful and so wonderful. But at the same time, it's almost like the Unsung Hero Award. I received that when I was in high school because I never placed in track or cross country. Like seriously, never. Somehow my points added to the team somehow successfully or something. I don't know. This is what the story they told me. But unsung hero means like you didn't place at all. She's placing, she's not getting the students. Like that's why you joined, so that you can get the students. And then in week 5, you guys watch this. Second place again. Dori Osmond, Kelly May, second place. And again, the first place winner ended up getting a student, right? Yep.
Every time.
But you just kept, you know what? I'd be like, so how did you do it? How did you get in second place? You'd be like, I keep taking the actions. And you keep telling me that it is inevitable I'm going to get a student if I keep taking the action. So I'm just going to keep taking the actions. I mean, talk about this go-getter attitude, right? So Dori hasn't gotten any students up to this point. And I can only imagine, like, you're really excited for other people that they're getting some success. But then at the same time, you're looking at your actions and thinking, oh my gosh, all this work and it hasn't landed me anything. And we read a book, it's called The Compound Effect. I'm like, where is it? Oh, here it is. We read The Compound Effect together. And it talks about that when you keep being consistent and taking action, it's going to be inevitable that you're going to get results, right? If I continually to put less food inside of my body and I exercise and I drink enough water, it is inevitable that I'm going to lose weight. Right? And we have to apply the same exact theory to our business, that if you keep taking these actions that I'm telling you to take, it is inevitable that you're going to get a student. And week 6, guess what happened, guys? She still didn't get a student. So now we're in week 6. It was only an 8-week program. It's now a 10-week program. In week 6, she's in second place with Danielle Hobson and Sylvia Stuckey. So here she is. And I hold a special call because I really do care about everybody that goes through this program getting a student, and I want to make sure that I'm supporting everybody to the level that I can support them. And so I hold the special call. And Dori is the only one that hasn't gotten a student that shows up to the call. The 2 other people showed on up because we are mixing it with another call as well. But Dori was the only one who showed up that didn't get a student on that call. What was that experience like?
Oh, the advice that you gave me was incredible. It was just so much. My hand was cramping from notes I was taking afterwards. But prior to the call, I was starting to feel deflated and discouraged. I really didn't think I was going to get any students through the program. I hadn't, even though I'd been working so hard. but I just was like, yeah, I don't think it's going to happen for me. And I started questioning, like, maybe my rates are too high. Maybe, I don't know. What am I doing wrong? But after that call, you looked at my website, you gave me personalized advice. We went through our call, and it was really obvious that because I'd been feeling, I'd had these thoughts starting to creep in, now it was impacting my self-confidence. And whenever we get to price, I don't know, you could tell that my confidence dropped. And it was only because I was thinking about the price, but the student or the parent who I'm talking to was probably just like, she doesn't sound confident. Does she know what she's doing? I don't know. So my message was conveyed was very different, like from what was going on in my head versus what the parents are thinking about. And that's something that you are always telling us, is we have to see things from the parents' perspective. And yeah, the advice that you gave me during that call was so invaluable. But more than that, it wasn't so much the advice. You re-sparked my energy and my enthusiasm, and just made me start thinking of, oh, I could do this and I could do that. And after that call, I stayed up. I don't know how late I stayed up, but I was like, I'm going to tweak this and I'm going to do that. And I made some really big changes after that. I think I'm a little bit reserved, especially when it comes to putting myself out there publicly. But after your talk, after our chat, I kind of looked at all of my, my website, my social media and that sort of thing through new lenses. And there was no Dori there. I had stock photos everywhere there was my landing page of my website. There was no sign of me. We hadn't created a video yet, but I immediately went through. So that night I went through and I was like, okay, I've got a game plan for the next day. So the next day I started, I'd done a video shoot with my boyfriend, and the calculator picture, you might have seen it, that you posted for this. So we did that and did some photos of me working with a student online and that sort of thing. We're still in lockdown from COVID, so I can't have a photographer come or anything at that point. But
your boyfriend took that picture?
Yeah, my boy, not bad, right?
Not bad. I mean, it totally looks like a professional. I could tell that you did it on that couch because it's the same background, but it just looks so professionally done. I mean, it was a beautiful, beautiful. You tell him from me, he did good.
I will do that. Yeah, I thought he did an incredible job. So he took that one, and then there's another one with me working online with a student. So the next day, I immediately put that on my website. And I was getting traffic to my website before, but I had zero, even though I'm getting 3-4 people hitting my website every day, zero in the year and a half that I've had my website up have I had a student from my website. That day, that same day, I put the pictures of me up after you're like, where's Dori here? I got a student through my website. Same day.
Oh my gosh, that's so exciting. And then week 7 happened. And you guys, I know you want to see this because look, first place, Dori Osmond! Woo! But I think the coolest part about that, the coolest part about that is they didn't just want you for 1 hour. Yes, 4 hours a week, which is equivalent in our program as 4 students, because we just count a student as 1 hour. Even if you work with a student for 2 hours, then that counts as 2 students. So we've come up with a way to make it fair for everybody. But finally, you hit that first place again. You had been there after the first week, and then you were right back there at the end after having so many second places and not getting a student. And then week 8, it was just like nobody could stop you. Big Mo came to visit, and you ended up getting how many more students?
I got 4 more hours that week. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So you
It
went
was just
from,
one after the other.
so a lot of times people will take a look at, somebody like you and they'll be like, oh my gosh, like out of nowhere, she just started getting students, like just like magically happened. But you don't get to see the work that people put in, like Dori had to, and you didn't see the mindset shifts that had to happen in order to get to that spot. A lot of people think it's just about getting more leads when it comes to their business, and there's so much more that is impacted. It's not just about the leads. It's about how do you approach them. It's about how do you set up those systems. So did you feel confident when you had gotten that student, your first student? Did you feel confident you had the systems in place for your business?
Yeah. I actually got a comment from not my first student, but one of the students I got in week 8. And I put together like the welcome package for my student, and that had all of before I would just kind of tell them what it was, and I put a little blurb at the end of my invoice, or I might email them, cancellation policy or something. But I put it together as part of a welcome package and had it in, and I developed like that in Canva with the help of one of the coaches. And, so it definitely came 100% from the course. And one of the moms, after she received it, she called me and she said, wow, like I was expecting you get a tutor, just a high school kid who comes and shows up and, you pay them cash, kind of like a babysitter. But this is professional, legit business you're running. And yeah, it was because I had those things in place. And she's like, oh, you take credit card, like little things like that now it's all set up and it just makes you look professional. And when parents aren't expecting that, it's a wow factor.
Yeah. Yeah. Anna Lorman mentioned the same exact thing. She had shared a post of something that the specific parent liked, and it was everything that she had learned in this class, to really, have that professional photo, to just how you have the consultation and you have that first conversation, to how you onboard, to all of those different things that's what they liked, that it just was it was a very seamless operation that she was running. And I do think that does make a huge difference. Oh my gosh. And then you get the message that you have won the Tutorpreneur Hero Award winner, because you were taking that consistent action. You were having top points inside of the program, and now you had the students on top of it. What was your thought?
I was shocked. I couldn't believe it because I'd been second for so many weeks. I didn't think that, a pull at the end would have been enough to, pull my rank up to first overall. So I was ecstatic with that. I was really shocked, but
it reminds me of the tortoise and the hare, that not that you're a hare, because you're totally not a hare. I mean, you were taking action, right? But there were a couple of other people that actually had gotten booked solid, that they weren't getting some of those points anymore because they were already booked solid, so they couldn't take any more students, right. Which kind of opened up that doorway for you to just, come from behind and just shoot past, in first place and just blow everybody's minds away. I mean, just such an amazing story. So and you decided for next steps for you, you're going to join the Insider Secrets Club.
Yeah, I've learned so much, and there's just so much support from the coaches and people who have already laid this path and gone ahead. So I don't know what's in store for me in the Insider Secret Club, but I put my faith in you, Joanne. I know that if you created it, it's going to have value. And yeah, what have I got to lose? It's an investment in my business and in my future. So yeah, I'm all in.
Yeah, and networking with other tutors is so powerful, because guess what? We have students we can't take all the time, and I would rather refer somebody that I know or got to know versus just leaving that student in a glitch situation of having to look online for somebody who might be okay. And then, I'd rather put my faith in another tutor from our community and say, here you go, like, you need to go with this person because of A, B, C, and D, right? Like, we can really confidently support each other with each other's businesses. And that happens all the time. We've had tutors that they're like, with their own kids, they're like, I need a tutor for chemistry. I need a tutor for speaking Spanish. I need a tutor for, and they get the different tutors for all the different subject areas that they need. And they set their child up for success, and just amazing things happen. And then we continually learn together as well, which I absolutely love that process. And right now we're talking about building your audience and how you get a bigger audience online so that more people can hire you, and you can do more things than just tutoring online. You can sell courses, you can do group classes, you can, it just opens up the doors to so many different opportunities as you grow your business. I'm so excited that this ended up being such an amazing journey for you as you went through this. Did you make your money back from the money you invested in the program?
I certainly will. I probably have already. Actually, I know I have already. Yeah. I've already made it back. So,
and how many programs do you take online where people are like, hey, if you do not make the money back, I will personally refund you if you've taken the actions of the program? How many programs are out there that do that? There are not many. See, this isn't for me. I'm not trying to hold people back because they can't afford it. I need you to invest in your business because you care and you want to take the actions of the business. If you can't make that decision to invest in your business, I can't help. And so it sounds like a really big number in the beginning. Did it sound like a big number to you when you first saw the number?
Yeah, especially when you convert it to Canadian dollars, sounds even bigger.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden, bam, like you end up making the money back, but then now you have set yourself up for a career for the future. How much did our education cost us when we went to college?
Yeah, a lot more.
How many years did it take us to pay that thing off?
Well, I just did a quick calculation, and in those 2 weeks that I got students, just those 2 weeks, it paid for the course.
Yeah.
So,
and you'll be able to apply the information going forward and be able to do all that.
And the students will continue paying me. So it's going to pay for itself.
Exactly.
Way more than once over.
Yes, absolutely. And that's the thing, right? Like, once you learn these techniques, nobody can take them away from you. You've got them. You can do it. So for somebody who is sitting on the fence right now and like, oh, I don't know, it seems like such a big investment, what would you say to them?
Just jump. Just do it. Especially if you are at the beginning of your journey, there is no reason, like, just do it. I wish I had the Jumpstart course a year ago. Like, my only regret is that I didn't join it sooner. And I wish as soon as I found you, I wish I jumped right in. I was like, no, there's so much information in the group and in the YouTube. Let me put all the things in place that I can on my own first, and then I'll join it. That was my mindset. But looking back, it would have been so much easier if I'd had a guide to take my hand and bring me through the journey. Yeah. So just go for it. Do it.
And it's been so fun being able to bring you through the journey and watch your success. Like, I get no greater joy than that personally, because it's like, oh my gosh, like, to see you on the leaderboard gets me excited. I'm like, yeah, Dori, she's putting it in. We chat every Friday about the people going through your course and say, hey, is there anybody who needs help? Is there, what's going on with the people inside of your team? And I remember Suzanne mentioning your name like in week 5, just like, Dori is like the one to watch. I'm telling you, like, she is amazing. You guys keep your eyes out for her. Like, she predicted this. So,
really?
Yes.
Thank you for believing in me, Suzanne.
We all believed in you. And I love when you like messaged me when you got that first student. You're like, remember when you said it was inevitable? And I was like, yes. She's like, I got a student. I'm like, yay. I was like so excited. I'm sitting in the car, like it's a Friday night. I was sitting in the car going someplace to have dinner and just relax with my family. And I get this message and I was like, no way. Yeah. Awesome. My husband's like, what? I'm like, one of the people that I just had a call with last week who didn't have any students just got a student. He's like, "Aw, that's awesome. Congratulations." I'm like, it feels like my win. When you guys have a win, it feels like my win.
I was so excited.
And then Beth's like, did you see? Did you see? I'm like, yes, I saw. Isn't that exciting? And she's like, yes, it's so exciting. And then we just had somebody else too, who was going through our group. Oh my gosh, starts with an E. I am so sorry. Oh.
Ernie?
Yes, Ernie. So Ernie didn't have any students throughout the program. And then last week, he ended up grabbing a student. And I was like, yes. So it's like, it doesn't always happen in those first couple weeks that you join the program. For some people, it does. They start like getting students like right away and get things going. And then some other people, they have to put more pieces into place. They have a more of a journey to take sometimes. Maybe they have more pieces in place. They have less pieces in place. Some people go through the program and they have a lot of the pieces in place and they're not applying it to what they've put in place. And they keep what they've had. Those people don't always have the best success. So if you were ever in that position, go back and look at the material because you have access to it for the life that I have Kajabi. So I won't take that away from anybody, but if I change from Kajabi. So I let people know you'll have it for about 2 years, but you can guess it will probably be longer. But like go through it and take a look and see, okay, what is different between what she's saying and what I have? Because I tell you, it will make a difference. Oh, I love it. Yes, the course can be retaken. I'm so glad that somebody is asking that question. I do have people, because I have to put a lot of investment into hiring the coaches to be able to hold the course. It's not just me that the money is all going to, right? I now have a team of people in place. I have a tech person. I have 3 coaches. We've got Beth on our team. And so I ask that you can take the class again, but you get it at 50% off. So you don't get the opportunity to join us for the full thing unless you invest in that 50%. And that helps me just cover the cost for the program. So Elizabeth will reach on out to you. And she will give you the 50% off link so that you can join if you've already gone through the course and been in there. So it looks like that's Jasmine. Yay. We'd love to be able to have you again. I just had somebody else who is joining again for a second time. And they even helped with bringing another person on board as well. So amazing community, you guys. We have an amazing community. It's just nothing like it. And I know that I always talk it up because I love it so much, but it's because of tutors like you, Dori, that really make it such an incredible place.
No, it is an incredible community. I've never seen anything like it before in any kind of business, or I come from the business world in any, and I've tried to, prior to building a tutoring business, I tried to build a dance business for myself. And in that world, I found that it's competition between the different schools. Everyone sees it as competitive. If you teach for the school, then you can't dance for that school, that sort of thing. But I have never seen a group that is more collaborative and supportive of each other. And people just realize that the more you help the other tutors that are out there, it's just going to come back to you tenfold eventually. So amazing community.
It is. And you guys, that's what we do have a little bit of fun competition that goes on inside of the course, as you saw with the leaderboards, but it's fun competition. It's not there to make anybody feel bad. We've got our team points, we've got individual points, we have all this just great stuff to keep it going. We even have prizes that we offer and give to the winning teams and to the winning people, and everybody that ends up getting a student gets a t-shirt. It says, I earned one student. They get that sent to them as well. And just a lot of fun. But I think the thing that people walk away the most with is that collaboration trumps competition every single time.
100%.
And that's what we do inside of this program. So congratulations on becoming our Tutorpreneur Hero Award winner.
Thank you, Joanne.
And if you're sitting on the fence out there right now and you're thinking, oh, should I join this? The doors close tomorrow at midnight. So definitely come and join us. Don't miss out on this opportunity. This is going to be a 10-week program this time around. So the doors are not going to open for another 3 months. So, why wait when you could begin making more money today, right? So awesome. Thank you again for joining us, Dori, and sharing your story. I think it's so inspiring for people. It's going to be inspiring for people in the future because Beth and I aren't going to stop talking about you. We'll be like, don't worry. Dori, she at week 7, bam, she got a student and she took over this whole entire competition. So you are going to inspire people till kingdom come with what it is that you were able to accomplish. So congratulations.
Oh, that makes my heart sing. I hope I can inspire someone else. Yeah. And thank you so much for having me. I think the world of you and your program. So to have you recognize me, that truly means a lot to me. So thank you for everything.
You deserve everything that you have coming to you, my friend, because you have worked hard. Keep up the great work, and I can't wait to see how your business soars from here on in. So yeah, keep us updated on where you're at with your business, and we'll continue to share these success stories, you guys. So thanks for joining us, everyone. You enjoy the rest of your day, enjoy this weekend, and we will see you next week, hopefully inside of the doors of the Jumpstart program. Bye, everyone.